Hey traders, Raghee here, and in Monday's free video, we're going to take a look at the Dow. And why am I looking at the Dow? Aren't we Forex traders? Well, the reason I'm looking at the Dow is because China is still part of the major narrative. Looking at the Dow, I'm going to show you why the NASDAQ has my attention right now and how that's going to get me a better glimpse into the risk environment as we prepare for maybe even more China concerns, how that's being played out in the yen, the Aussie, the New Zealand dollar, and how today's comments from Fed member Lockhart are affecting the market. So let's start off. It's a lot, right? But I'm going to tie it all together and you're going to see how it works with this kind of intra-market analysis. And we'll have a pretty good idea of what we may want to do with some of the individual currency stories that are on our watch list. So starting off with the Dow. We set up, and this is something we do very often in the morning chat live, is we set up the lines and levels that I am looking at specifically for what I call a clearing range breakout breakdown scenario. And the further we get away from the 10:30 time, the further we move along with the day, the more I start letting the underlying market trends dictate what I may want to do. Now, what happened this morning is that you can see where the arrows are. We had the clearing range trigger a short, and then we actually moved up from there. The profit target was down here, either at the minor 80 or major 50 pip level, but we bounced up. Now, as long as we remain below either one of these levels, preferably this one right here, the trade is still valid. And that's a very important part of it, the point of validity. The trade is still valid up to this level. So we didn't really test it in any major way. The market rolled over, gave us more of a 4 to 6 o'clock angle, and even a swing short here, intraday 5-minute swing short. And down we went to the profit target here. And actually, while this profit target was being reached, we were in a live 1 p.m. chat, and I was telling the traders then, hey, if you didn't take the minor psych level off the table, go ahead and look for the major psych and then move to a break even. Very important. Move to a break even stop. So what happened after that? This is looking like John Madden just finished marking up the football field, huh? For those of you in the U.S., for those of you out of the U.S., this is a very popular thing that sometimes sports commentators do. Let's clean this chart up. So what happened? This is when Fed Lockhart came into the picture. And he painted a picture, obviously, that rallied the Dow higher. And partly it was because he was fairly optimistic on inflation numbers. At the same time, however, and this is a pretty important point, at the same time, he definitely emphasized that the inflation picture is going to have to improve for the Fed to hike again. Because let's realize that for the most part, the overall move to the upside was on the fact that the Fed even just talked about avoiding rate hikes. All right. As much as the Dow bulls loved that March wasn't looking like another lift-off month, it was pretty laughable that they were thinking it was realistic in the first place. Because if you look at the Fed fund futures for March, and actually I should show you the daily chart. Here you go. This is hardly a chart that's indicating another hike, because if it were, it'd be trading down in this area, not where it is right now, and certainly not above the 200-period simple moving average. Fed fund futures are something we use darn near daily in the chat to get a better idea of what's happening with the rate hike picture, and it's been pretty much spot on. So when you look at the comments, they took March off the table, at least Lockhart did, and emphasized inflation, which means we're nowhere near those 2% targets, with crude oil hitting a brand new low. So Bull said, great, not another rate hike knocking on our door. Let's rally the Dow, and that's exactly what we saw here. All right, so I mentioned there's a couple other markets that I'm looking at. And if I'm going to find where ultimately the market is going to find a bottom, where the equities markets are going to find a bottom and the risk appetite is going to return, it's actually going to be watching the NQ. And that means a lot of the risk on, the risk appetite that I'm looking for to maybe shift the picture in the yen or to correct the yen strength actually lies in stocks like Facebook, Amazon, Netflix, and Google. So that's how, yes, you're a Forex trader. You've got to understand what's happening in the equities markets. Right now, the NASDAQ actually might hold the key as to where traders may find opportunities and a floor may be put in the equities markets, which actually affect US dollar, US dollar, Japanese yen, Canadian dollar, Japanese yen, euro versus yen. When could we get that correction? When could we get that yen weakness that a lot of traders are going to be looking to buy into? So NASDAQ could hold the key there. So back to our intraday trade. You can see that Lockhart absolutely rallied the market with his comments about taking the Fed hike in March off the table. Probably a little too much was made of it. And here's how I can measure that. Here's how I can quantify that. We never took out clearing range or really any significant pre-market high. So pretty unimpressive. All we did is move within overall the range once we broke up higher through the initial short levels, which actually gave us some really nice and pretty simple profit targets around the 16,180 and 16,150. And by the way, if you're intraday trading things like the yen, the yen currency, individual yen currency, this is a fantastic way to trade the equities picture alongside that. And if you want to trade the Dow, great way to do it as well. It's a consistent play that we set up in the chat room every morning. All right, so that is a look at the markets and what it is that I want to do with this risk environment. By the way, what yen stories am I looking at? I'm looking at predominantly US dollar, Japanese yen, and Canadian dollar. Let's see, here we go. US dollar, Japanese yen, and Canadian dollar, Japanese yen are very interesting stories to me. Canadian dollar, Japanese yen more so. Australian dollar, Japanese yen, euro yen are also very interesting stories. And here's where I'm going to decide what it is I want to do. And that takes me to our heat map. And here you'll see on the heat map going back 1 month that our best bets for yen buys, specifically yen buys, are Canadian dollar and British pound. If you want to buy yen, but if you want to sell yen, here we go. US dollar and euro might look a whole lot better. Somewhere in the middle, a little bit kind of neutral, depending upon what the underlying market does. Again, if you want to sell yen, New Zealand dollar and Australian dollar could get a boost from the risk appetite. But right now, it looks like you're better these two currencies. And I'm going to tell you right now, I'm not in love with euro buys at all. And this has a lot to do with China and the exposure that Germany specifically has to China. So also included in tonight's email is a special report that I have written for y'all to explain this connection, this very interesting connection between China and Germany and how you can play it with some very specific symbols that I'm going to explain to you if you're interested in understanding how this could play out for Europe. So check that out in part 2. Yeah, I'm throwing some serious content at you guys today. I think it's just that important. Okay, that's why I'm making it available, because I think these are needle movers and very important places to look for clues. And I hope you enjoy it. And hopefully it's going to give you some insight into what's happening right now.